I hired 10 beta readers on Fiverr. Here's how it went. So if you don't know what beta readers are, they are people that read your book in exchange for feedback. Now usually betas are volunteer, they're people who just read your book for free, and in exchange, you know, they get a free book, you get some free feedback. It's a win-win for everybody. But in some cases, people will charge for their beta services, and some people will buy them. And in my case, I hired a lot of them because I did not know a lot of people willing to read my book, unfortunately. Now don't get beta readers mixed up with alpha readers. Alpha readers are people who read the first draft of your story and basically help shape this sort of skeleton of a book and help you put meat on the bones, help you, figure out all the major problems. And then beta readers read any of the last drafts of the book and help you see any last issues or details that you just didn't notice. Now, I technically had 3 rounds of beta reading. The first one, I had like 3 people sign up, but only 1 person actually finished reading the book. The second round, I hired about 10 people, but only about 5 of them got back to me, and only 3 of them actually finished the book. So I was pretty happy with that, but I wanted to get like a whole army of people to read this book and just have that be my final hurrah before I sent it out to my editors. And I decided to go to Fiverr because I had basically milked my audience dry. Also, so thank you to everyone who did volunteer to read my book. I am so thankful for all of you, especially to my copy editor who beta read my book twice. You know who you are. Thank you so much. So technically I hired 11 people on Fiverr, but one of them had to cancel on me because he was too busy with schools and finals, all that. It's understandable. School is very stressful for everyone right now, but I ended up having 10 people get back to me, and out of those 10 people, I would say 8 of them were, 8 of them were predominantly helpful, and specifically 2 or 3 of them were just absolutely god tier beta readers. Like, they were my absolute favorite. They were probably the ones that did most of the work in this draft, honestly. So yeah, I'm just going to talk about how my experiences went and recommend if you should hire beta readers on Fiverr yourself. So to cut to the chase, I would definitely recommend hiring beta readers on Fiverr. Now, just because I had a good experience with Fiverr does not mean you will have a good experience with Fiverr. I'm not sponsored by Fiverr, I'm just telling you what my honest opinion is. I've been a seller and a buyer on Fiverr for about 6 months now, maybe. I'm really enjoying my experience. When it comes to beta readers, my best advice is to look at reviews, but the thing is, on Fiverr, it's really easy to find bad sellers with good reviews, because a lot of the times, people like me will leave really good reviews to people who probably don't deserve them. I really need to grow a backbone and start giving honest reviews, which I do give honest reviews, but sometimes I do give 5 stars to people who are more like 4 stars, but like I don't have the heart to give them 4 stars. But do look at reviews. A lot of the time you will find honest reviews, but sometimes they don't guarantee good service. Sometimes it's just bad timing for the seller, and other times the seller just won't be a good match for you. Maybe they are a good seller, but you're just not. You two are just not compatible. But I would recommend searching by genre. Now, unless you are on a budget like I am, I spent about $200 on all 10 beta readers. The most money I spent on a single beta reader was $40, and the least amount of money I spent on a beta reader was $5. So you can really find anyone for any price range. There are people you can basically hire for pennies, and then there are people who will basically charge you up the ass. Now, I'm not trying to like insult anyone who do offer high-priced beta reading services. I understand that beta reading is, in a way, sort of like developmental editing, not as detailed, but it is sort of in that field, and so it is really difficult, and obviously everyone should price their services to how they see fit. But there are some beta readers that will charge you a lot of money. I've never hired these people before, so I can't tell you if these really high-priced beta readers are worth your money, but what I can tell you is that if you are on a budget, I would suggest narrowing down your search to what your budget is, and you can normally find a lot of beta readers. It took me a long time to find all the beta readers I wanted, because my book at the time was about 100,000 words long, and not a lot of beta readers offer services to read books that long. My book now is about 86,000 words. It might go up or down in this last draft, but yeah, a lot of beta readers won't read stuff that long. You can find them, but trying to find an affordable beta reader who will read a 100k plus word draft is going to be very hard. But if you have a smaller draft, you're in luck. There are a lot more options for you. Now, when searching for beta readers on Fiverr, I specifically went by budget. I wanted to go by genre, which I was able to find a lot of beta readers who read my genre, so that was good. But sometimes, you know, because of my budget, I couldn't hire all the betas that I wanted to hire. I had to stick with cheaper ones, even if they weren't accustomed to my genre. But that's actually good too, because getting people to read your book, even if it's outside your genre, will help you get a wide scope of opinions. And sometimes that's just really helpful. Sometimes going out of your comfort zone or going out of your genre and finding people who have never read books like yours before, and that just means that you'll get a very unique opinion. And sometimes that's good. Maybe they'll have advice for you that you weren't expecting to get. So I would highly suggest searching by genre, but if you are on a budget, search by budget and then whittle them down by genre. So basically how the process works is, how I did it at least, was I messaged each seller. I gave them a list of all the trigger warnings in my book, just to make sure that they were comfortable with it. Pretty much all of them were comfortable with it, so that was great. But if your book does have trigger warnings, I would suggest messaging the seller first before placing an order, because not all sellers list things they're uncomfortable with in their bio, and I've had situations where people commission me and I'm not comfortable with what they're writing and they never discussed it with me first. So just out of courtesy, please message the seller first to make sure they are comfortable with what you're buying, because canceling an order can get very tricky for both the buyer and the seller. So once you've discussed everything in DMs, you can place an order, and Fiverr does charge a fee. It's like a service fee, I guess. Usually it's no more than a couple dollars. I think the most expensive service fee I've ever paid on Fiverr was like $7, so it's honestly not that much. Now, all beta readers give you what is called a reader report, which is basically going over all the elements of a story. So you've got like plot, characters, character arcs, dialogue, all that sort of stuff, and they give you feedback on all those different sections. Some betas will be really lengthy with their feedback. I got one beta reader who gave me like 10 pages worth of feedback. Meanwhile, some betas are not. I had one beta who gave me like a page at most of feedback, and it wasn't even feedback, it was more of just like, this was good, this was okay, or whatever. And like, I could tell there was also a language barrier, which is not his fault, that's no one's fault, but it was really hard to communicate with this person. Their feedback just, they basically gave me no feedback, so that was unfortunate. So you can't guarantee that you're going to get perfect feedback, but generally speaking, I would say like 90 to 95% of the betas that I hired gave me extraordinary feedback. Pages upon pages of feedback. It was really, really good. I do personally suggest finding betas who include inline comments in their package. 7 of the 10 betas that I hired had inline comments as an option in their package. And if you don't know what inline comments are, they are basically comments that the reader leaves in the draft itself. So let's just say, you know, a lot of readers will give their first impressions on certain plot points. A lot of readers will point out certain mistakes, little plot holes. If a dialogue just sounds out of character, they'll mention it. So these are just more just like little details that they're pointing out for you, and you don't have to have a beta reader who does this for you, but I highly suggest it. Some people prefer to just get feedback in the form of a final reader report, but the reason I suggest getting inline comments is because despite reader reports being really good, they're only good for bird's eye view type feedback. They give you an overall look at the issues in your story. Meanwhile, inline comments point out specific issues that may be too specific to mention in the reader report. So usually what I'll do is, once I get all my inline comments, I'll have my draft open, and then I'll have the other duplicate drafts open with all the comments that they listed, and as I edit each chapter, I'll go through each chapter in each duplicate document and look at the comments left in those chapters, and I just keep repeating that process. So I look at the comments in the chapter, read all of them from each beta reader, see what problems they were having, see what specific scenes didn't feel right to them, see what stuff they did like, see what dialogue didn't work for them, and then I go back to the chapter in my current draft and I edit all of that according to their comments. And this is really good because getting a bird's eye view of the issues in your book is great, don't get me wrong, it is, but getting specific feedback on very specific scenes is also very helpful because it helps me look at how the plot is developing, how was the reader's first impression on certain major plot points. Some of that stuff might not get mentioned in a reader report, but they will get mentioned in inline comments, and I love having that detailed feedback because it helps me fix not just the overall book, but it helps me fix all the little tiny issues that betas might not include in a final reader report. So I highly suggest looking for that. Again, that's optional. Some people prefer to get feedback in the form of a reader report rather than get a bunch of comments, but that's just me. I just find that that helps me to really edit my draft in depth. Okay, so how many betas were actually good and bad. But like I said, I would say a good 90 to 95% of the betas were really good. They were excellent, and with a few of them, like 2 or 3 of them, being absolutely god tier. But there were a few of them that I really wish I didn't hire. I'm not here to call out, you know, any names or anything. I'm pretty sure like half of these services aren't even available anymore because of, you know, school and everything. Everyone's busy. But 2 betas, I would say, were probably some of the worst betas I had. One of them, like I said, did not give me any feedback at all, basically, and the other one, I have mixed feelings on this one because one beta gave me like 10 pages worth of feedback, and I was so grateful for that. But the thing is, he only picked on like a few specific issues. Like there was only maybe 5 issues at best that he discovered, and he just rambled about them. It was just a huge rant about these issues, and they were also very contradictory. So like he would tell me like, oh, don't write this way, it sounds like you're trying to mimic like a visual movie, and then his solution to fix that problem was to watch more movies. I don't know, his feedback was very mixed because he did leave a lot of good feedback, both in the reader report and in his inline comments, so I am very thankful for that. He gave me a lot of good advice and a lot of good things to work with, but a lot of the stuff in the reader report was just very repetitious. It wasn't the most helpful thing in the world. A lot of it was just rambling, and a lot of his inline comments, despite being very helpful, were worded very rudely. And I've dealt with tough love beta readers before. I've had beta readers who are just super blunt. They tell you how it is, and yeah, it kind of hurts my feelings a little bit, but that's just life. Some people are going to be, you know, blunt with their feedback, and I appreciate that. I appreciate people being brutally honest. But some of the things he said were just completely rude and snarky. It was hard to tell if what he was pointing out was an actual issue or if he was just bitching about something that he personally didn't like. He also left a lot of rude comments about the diversity in my story, telling me to stop trying to be woke about it. Basically just trying to force ideologies on my characters that like they have to have like a certain body type, they have to have a certain sexuality, you can't have this diversity here, and like and I don't think he was bigoted, but like he just had a very odd opinions on diversity that really troubled me. And again, I had nothing against this guy. He was probably one of the best betas I've ever had, but just snarky comments, the rambling, the weird comments on the diversity in my book just threw me off a lot. So you know, you're not every beta reader is going to be perfect. Not every beta reader is going to work well with you. They may work well with other people, but sometimes they may not just work well with you, and that's totally fine. Every beta reader, even the ones that weren't the most helpful, I still appreciate them, and I'm so happy that I got all these people on board. So really, it's just up to you. You can't predict the future and what kind of feedback you're going to be receiving from these people. Sometimes you'll really enjoy working with them, and sometimes you won't, and that's just the reality of hiring freelancers on Fiverr, or hiring anyone in general, even if they're not freelance. I also hired 2 of my developmental editors on Fiverr, and I'm also going to be hiring my proofreader on Fiverr. So Fiverr does have a lot of good people to work with there, and I highly recommend it. Now, the amount of beta readers you need to hire usually varies from person to person. I would recommend hiring at least 2 people. That way, if there are any common issues, you can have both people's opinions to bounce off of. So let's just say both beta readers point out a specific issue. That's confirmation that that thing is probably an issue because 2 people pointed it out. But then let's just say that one beta reader really hated a certain plot point while the other one really loved it. That's kind of confirmation that it's 50-50 and you can just choose to do whatever you want with that plot point. It's more of just up to personal opinion. But some people prefer to hire 50 plus betas. It's really just up to you. I've seen people hire anywhere from like 2 to like 100 or more. It's really just up to you. I hired, like I said, I hired 10, and I would say that's a really good number for me. I'm probably going to stick with roughly 10 people in any future rounds of beta reading I may have. So that number just worked for me, but different numbers of betas work for different people. So I would just hire as many as you think you need, and if you need to hire more in the future, go ahead. And if you learn your lesson that you don't want that many people on your team and you only want 2 or 3, that's fine as well. Just follow your gut instinct and hire as many people as you feel you desire, and then learn from your experiences if it doesn't work out the first time. That's everything I have to talk about today. Again, I am so thankful to all my beta readers, both the ones that volunteered and the ones that I paid. I've credited all the beta readers in my draft, and any of you who beta read my book will probably see your name in the draft when it's published. So I'm very thankful to all of you who have provided help and feedback to this draft. It would not be anywhere it is today without you guys, and I'm so happy, and I'm so thankful for everyone who's put effort into this draft. Not even beta readers, just people in general who listen to me ramble about my shit, listen to me, you know, talk about my stories and info dump about my characters and, you know, look at my art and my comics and everything about my story on both YouTube and Instagram, and all the support that people have given me, whether you've beta read the book or not. I appreciate it with every ounce of my soul. And with all that being said, I might make a video in the future talking about how I apply beta feedback to my drafts now that I've done it 3 different times. So I'd like to lend my advice to other people if anyone would find that useful. In the meantime, I have some other videos planned, I have some other posts planned. Everything's just kind of a mess right now, so much is going on in my life. I've got so much to do with my editors and my draft and my job and my dog and everything, so I appreciate everyone's patience. I'm so sorry for being inactive. NaNoWriMo absolutely kicked me in the ass last month, but I do plan to start posting more consistently, both on YouTube and Instagram. Hopefully I can keep that promise. I'm also going to be changing around some of the content I post. I want to get more diverse with the things that I post and the things I create, so you might start to see more variety in my content. And I also want to start doing live streams on YouTube. It's probably like writing sprints or just productivity sprints. I don't know when exactly I'm going to start that, but I want to start it this month hopefully, so look out for that. And with all that being said, that's all I have for you today, and hope everyone enjoys their Christmas, their winter, their holiday, just this month in general, whatever you celebrate. If you don't celebrate holidays at all, that's perfectly fine, but I just hope everyone has a wonderful rest of their year, and good luck with your writing projects.